introduction. Today on the show, my guest is Michael Palmer. How are you?
I'm doing all right. Yourself?
I'm doing pretty good. You don't sound like you're from Knoxville.
I'm not. I'm from up north.
You're from the north? Where are you from originally?
I'm from the Bronx, New York.
Bronx, New York.
Yeah.
Wow, that's a long way from home. Um, how long did you live there?
Up until I was 17.
Up to you're 17? Oh, we were talking about that. We were talking earlier, and he told me that he had enlisted in the Marines when he was 17. So, what led you to that decision?
Honestly, it's just a combination of things. It was 9/11 that happened, and then just my whole family's prior service, and I wasn't really college ready. So, in my mind, that was the only out. I had to leave New York.
Okay. Well, I mean, did you stay in the United States, or did you get to go on tour, or how long were you in active duty?
I did 3 years up until I got kicked out. But from the second I got done with school, like boot camp was 3 months, then my SOI training was 3 months. So when I got stationed in North Carolina, I left like a month later.
Okay. And you went.
I went to Iraq, Scandaria, Nasiriyah, Fallujah, Ramadi, Al Sahad, Cabo.
Wow.
Yeah, that's fun stuff.
Yeah. Too bad we can't do that now that we're felons. Can't travel like we used to.
Just need a war to happen. They'll send you out there.
It's very true.
When I enlisted, I actually had 2 felony counts of what was it? Possession of a deadly weapon.
Really?
Mm-hmm.
Like when you were a minor?
I was 17, 16, turning 17.
Oh, did you go to juvenile for that?
No, I got released that
Oh.
same day. It was just, it got sealed when I went to join. They wavered me in.
Oh, okay. Well, I want to personally thank you for your service, and I'm pretty sure that Knoxville wants to thank you for your service, for what you did for your country.
I appreciate it.
Thank you so much. Well, before I go any further, total phase head, you are completely aware that this will be televised on KCM as well as Facebook and a YouTube channel once I get that up and running.
Yeah, that's fine.
So you're totally fine telling your story.
Yes, I am.
Exciting. Love this. So let's get down to the nitty gritty. How old were you when you first experimented with drugs?
I was 14 or 15 years old.
14 or 15? That's pretty young. I was 9 when I first started experimenting. So, do you want to say a little bit about that? Or
I mean,
did you become, I guess what I'm asking is, when you first experimented, did the addiction kick in right away on the drug you were using?
well, my addiction and my disease was well before that day ever happened. I had a need to be accepted by everybody. Like, I craved it. I was the class clown in school. You know, I was pretty smart myself. I blew off studies just to get laughs because I didn't feel right about myself. And there's a long story behind that one too. Uh, so when 14 hit around, I was in. I want to be accepted. That when it was offered to me, I couldn't say no because I don't want to say peer pressure because it wasn't peer pressure. It was I want them to like me kind of thing.
Right. You wanted to make them think that, oh yeah, I do this all the time. Yeah, that's cool. Let's do it.
Actually, it was well, it's not funny, but it is kind of funny. When I actually it was cocaine. Was 14, 15 was cocaine, and I did it wrong, and I sneezed.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's that, and then on top of that, I ended up in the snow naked. So
Naked in the snow in New York.
needless to say, that day was never forgotten by me and many others that were there.
Oh wow. I can't imagine being naked in the snow in Tennessee, and we don't get much snow, but we've all got our addiction naked stories. Um, so what? So you were trying to be accepted and everything. Um, I gotta ask, have you ever been arrested due to your drug use? Well, it's probably a dumb question, as
Oh yeah,
most of you can see. Trust it. So,
I make light of it now. I mean, I kind of steer into the skid. Was that supposed how to say it? Into the skid, whatever it said, how they say it. But September of 2020, September of 2021, October 2021, February 2022. I've been arrested 4 or 5 times.
due to your drug use.
Uh, yes and no. I was caught having stuff, but I never got caught using. I mean,
Right.
yeah, I'm kind of just splitting hairs here, but yeah,
So you were a user and a dealer, is what you're trying. A dealer and a dealer.
yeah.
Is what you're trying to say.
I figured out that if I used the money that I was making, I could fund my own habit. I don't want to call myself a dealer. I was just a functional addict.
So you were a functional addict. You didn't. Well, I guess it's kind of one and the same. You were a functioning addict while doing criminal activity to support your habit.
Yeah, I wasn't out hitting WalMarts and robbing people. I was just selling drugs.
That's how I supported my habit, especially when I got on meth, which, as many of you know, that is my drug of choice, and it kind of
Mine
pays
too.
for itself. That was your drug of choice.
Mm-hmm. Yes, it was.
Well, we have that in common. Do you believe in the term the disease of addiction?
Yeah, I firmly believe in it, and it wasn't always the case. I always thought that people were just lazy and just wanted to get high because they wanted to get high. It wasn't until I actually became an addict and in recovery that I realized that the desire and compulsion was always there in me. It just manifested in different ways.
That's very true. That is very true. Throughout my addiction, it was, I was doing this, and then that kind of phased out, and then I went to this, and so on, so forth. So, have you ever tried to seek treatment before, or tried to get clean on your own?
That was the treatment in my eyes in the beginning.
Getting clean on your own?
Yeah, I had injuries from the military that I sustained that I still have to this day that I'm fighting with the VA over. I had low morality, no, not morality, self esteem. I had low morals. I had no values at the time. I was just in survival mode. Like, I've been in survival mode most of my life. It wasn't until this last year that I actually sought help. But it wasn't by my doing, it was up the court. But I'm
Right.
actually glad that it happened.
So, what is your clean date exactly?
My clean date is February 11th, 2022. My recovery date is November 2nd.
I've never heard it put that way before. So,
I can elaborate.
please elaborate.
I mean, being clean is one thing. Like,
Yeah.
abstaining from drugs, that's not a problem for me. I've done it for years. But recovery is you actually taking a look at yourself and fixing the whys. Like, why did I get high? Why did I do this? Why did I do that? I actually started to probe myself and figure out the root cause of all that so it doesn't happen again.
Oh, I've never heard it put that way. That is very elegant. It's very well put. Sorry, I cannot speak today. Um, so you've been arrested. Um, so what do you think your mugshots look like? Do you think you look the same in your mugshots as you do now?
Well, no. Um, my mug shots, you can tell I've been up for days. My
Right.
eyes are bloodshot red.
Mhm.
I think one of the photos, I got the look of like on my face because it was a bogus arrest, but I was still guilty in the same right. I
Right.
mean, who gets pulled over for driving too slow in a parking lot? But I mean, if I wasn't out there in the first place, it never would have happened. So I really
Right.
can't sit there and nitpick on the arrest. But I'm actually really glad that they happened, though.
So you consider your arrest a blessing.
Yeah,
I know. I do.
very much so. Like I wanted an out. I was in way over my head. I couldn't see the light at the end of the tunnel, and me getting arrested actually pulled me out the game.
Right.
So I disappeared. You know, when you disappear in that lifestyle, people tend to forget about you. So when I got out, I had a clean slate.
I was the complete opposite. I thought I was just top dog. Like I was just the boss, and like when I got arrested, I was mad. I mean, kicking the side of the paddy wagon and cussing officers. And if you're watching this, officers that were there that night, I do apologize. but
No, I didn't do that.
but
It was just like when I got arrested, I already knew I was caught. So I was like, no, if I make this dude's life easy, maybe they'll get me off with like a ticket or something. So I was like, yeah, there it is. There it is. It's mine.
that's what I did too. They said, "Where is everything?" And I was like, "It's this. It's there. It's in that bag. Check that box." And it didn't work out like that. But I was so angry. But looking back now, like you said, I guess the decision to be in recovery, that was the best thing that could have ever happened to me. I mean, ever. So, in my episode, voluntarily showed some clips of myself, including my mugshot. So, how do you feel about us taking a look at your mugshots?
Go ahead.
Go ahead.
Yeah.
Full consent.
Full consent.
Alright. Let's take a look at a couple. Obviously, you've had a few. Let's take a look at a couple of those mugshots. I'd say you look amazing today compared to that one mugshot. I'm not knocking it because my mugshot was not a pretty picture. I've got 4 of them and I just showed one.
I mean, looking at those photos again, it just reminds me that I really need to cut this beard off because it's not working for me the right way.
You don't like the beard done more?
I thought I looked nice with it, but apparently I just look like I look scraggly. I mean, but it was just one of those things where the beard was part of a persona.
Right.
Like I had a whole alternate name, and I'm a nice-natured person, but you can't be nice in that world. You get stepped on, get killed. So I had to embody somebody that I wasn't to get by. And when those two worlds collide, it causes a lot of unnecessary drama.
So, do you ever have the urge to use?
The urge to use, not really. Like it hits me every once in a while, but it's usually when I'm stressed out. But for the most part, that desire is gone. Like it's really because of the program I'm working, the people that I have in it.
So you have a network?
Well, I have a vast network of a bunch of recovery people. That's one of the first things they told me to do was find a network.
Yep.
So I try and stick with the winners, as they say.
Yep, absolutely. So what have you gained in recovery?
Me. I got me back. Like I got self-esteem, I have morals, I have values, and those are 3 things I was lacking in my addiction. So when it got put in front of me, I had nothing there to stop me from doing it. You know, because I didn't have a value system, I didn't have morals, and I didn't have self-esteem. So it was a big people-pleasing thing because I felt so low about myself that I told myself that if I do this, maybe they'll like me. You know, and recovery taught me to love myself. As a kid, my mom and my family was like, you need to be like your brother. And then when I was in the military, it was like, you have to be this perfect Marine. And then the program I'm in now is just be yourself. And that was the first time I was accepted for being me. And that wanted me to improve myself and be the best me I possibly can be because I've been selling myself short for years.
I can totally relate to that, and I'm almost positive all addicts and recovering addicts can relate to that. So, what message would you give to the still sick and suffering addict today? What would you say to them?
I'll say quite a few things. Like, first off, it's I've been there, I've done it, and I've walked away from it. I walked away from a lot of money. I walked away from a lot of people that aren't happy with the fact that I did it. I would really want to say recovery can help you realize your true worth so you can command your true value. You know, because addiction is just something that it fills a void that we all have, in my opinion.
Right.
Whether it's imposed on or self-inflicted, we all have traumas, and using makes you not care about the traumas. I didn't realize that when I came back, all those traumas were still there. It just increased. So I'm forced to have to fix all that now. But my recovery gives me the foundation to survive all that. Because a lot of it's hard. But I don't regret none of it. It's actually one of the best things I could ever do.
Yeah. I used to feel a lot of shame and guilt and remorse from my addiction, but I don't feel that way anymore. You know, if I can just save one life, if one person can hear my voice or your voice and it helps them, that's all that matters. So, are you familiar with the term, um, the best thing about getting clean is getting your feelings back, and the worst thing about getting clean is getting your feelings back?
I'm not a fan of that.
You're not a fan of that?
I don't like feeling stuff. I'm not a fan of it, but I've learned that every thought ain't truth and every feeling ain't a fact.
Right.
So I can feel some kind of way and I can think some kind of way. It doesn't make it absolute truth. How I respond to it is what I'm working on today. I need to learn how to respond instead of react.
I like that. It seems like I didn't know you back then, but it seems like you're learning a lot being in recovery.
Yeah, trial and error.
Yeah. So,
even in recovery, I've made some mistakes, but I've gotten back up, dust myself off, and keep pushing. And that's why I like recovery, because they open you back with open arms every time.
yeah. You mentioned programs before, and again, we're not promoting anything, but I was a part of an intensive outpatient program, and it was a 14-week class, and I loved it until they told me about that timeline. Were you ever part of a program like that?
I've done an IOP.
You have?
I got there, I hated it, and when my 14 weeks were up, I didn't want it to be over.
I feel the same way. I went back a time or two just to kind of sit in and
So
say hey and all that. So how did you feel about the timeline?
the timeline sucked.
It took me 9 weeks to write mine.
No, I did mine in the span of like 2 hours on my way to IOP that day. But I'm very vocal about my stuff anyway, so when it came down to me putting it on paper, it was easy. It was the reading it in front of everybody that was hard.
I had a problem with all of it. It took me 9 weeks. I've had secrets. I hold everything in.
Imagine being a man and having to hold everything in. We're expected to be stoic.
Well, yeah, it's very true. But I mean, men and women are both strong. So you graduated.
Yeah, I did. Kind of took me a while when I got there.
You got there. So can we take a look at your certificate?
Sure, I'm proud of it. I love that thing.
Awesome. Let's take a look at it. So you had mentioned that you had got clean and then you went into recovery. I'm still trying to grasp that a little bit.
Well, I got clean February 11th, 2022 because I got put in jail. I got out in May and I got put into a program called Veterans Recovery Court. Um,
Is that Knox County?
yeah, Knox County.
Okay.
But that's how I ended up going to IOP. That's how I ended up finding about all these programs at my disposal to help me with my addiction that I did not know. I didn't know they were even there. I didn't know there was help out there for me.
Right.
I just thought that I was the scum of the earth and no one gave a crap. But the Veterans Recovery Court, they actually give you the tools to not only stay sober but to stay sober. So when I was clean, I was working that program, so it got to the point where when November hit, I actually wanted to be in recovery. Like Veterans Recovery Court is one of the best things that ever happened to me. Like I love it. The judge is really cool. He sacrifices a lot of his time just to keep us accountable and keep us on the straight and narrow. You know, I'm just glad to be in it. I love it. And this is someone who fought it for like the first 3 months I was in it, like
Wow.
tooth and nail. Like, but if I can go back and do it again, I would.
It's amazing. It's awesome. Well, I'm very, very, very proud of you. And I also want to ask you a couple deep questions, if I may.
Sure.
So, how do you feel about the fact that an addict needs money, insurance, or a grant to receive treatment? Obviously, we can go to the hospitals and say, I'm an addict, I want to kill myself if I can't quit, but that's just a detox, then we're released. So, how do you feel that we can't really help addicts without those things?
The answer to that, in my opinion, is actually really complicated. Because on one hand, from the business side, I get that you need to make a profit. You need to justify the ends. No, I get that. But as an addict, I remember walking up down the streets just hopeless because there was no one or nothing there to help. You're gonna tell me that I go to get help in this treatment place and I gotta have insurance? Like, yeah, I'm freaking homeless. Like, I don't have any insurance. Like, I don't have any money. If I had money, I wouldn't be homeless. You know. So I think that it's complicated. I think that money could be allocated to help fund that, but I also see the risk involved in that too, because just because you go through detox and you go through those programs, there's a good chance that you can go back out. So essentially, that's money lost.
Absolutely.
I mean, it's just really complicated. Like, I wish I had a better answer to that. Like, I really wish I do, because I know for a fact I've been approached and I've been contacted by people in addiction who said they wanted help, and I set all that stuff up for them, and they either don't show or they leave halfway through. I've also had people who've contacted me who I've helped set them up with programs and they've completed it. It's really on the individual addict, honestly. It's have they had enough yet?
That's very true. Because it starts with yourself.
I feel like I gave you a political answer there because I didn't really answer it.
No, you gave it. I just wanted your opinion. So again, in your opinion, what do you think we can do as a community to better help these addicts who have the desire to quit, but they don't have the means to do so?
Well, I might piss some people off with this, but it is what it is. I think they need to get rid of the needle exchange because all that money could be going to fund people's insurance and beds. Like, why would you fix a problem by giving someone a syringe?
Yeah.
How does that help?
Like, it's crazy. You can go and stand in line, and this is everywhere in the world, from what I understand. You stand in line and you get your syringe, you get your spoon, you get your...
yeah, they give you everything you need
to do. And you just walk out the door and...
Everything except the drug.
Yeah, everything except the drug. And I can recall a few meetings that I went to, they were outside meetings, and we would park and we would go to the spot where the meeting was, and the amount of just dirty needles and syringes just laying everywhere. And these are parks. You can find dirty needles and syringes at hospitals in the bushes. It's ridiculous.
it's a problem that is so deep that there is no clear solution to it. I mean, everything that is being done is just like putting a band aid on a damn leak. You know, it's superficial at best. Like, the best way I can think of to solve the problem is to solve the why. Like, instead of sitting there getting someone sober, ask them and help them figure out why it is that they're getting high in the first place. And like, it ties into mental health. Mental health is a huge factor in most addictions. And it doesn't get addressed because no one wants to talk about that stuff.
Yeah.
Like, it wasn't until I went through IOP that I realized that I had that void in me from lack of self acceptance, that I needed to people please. IOP got me that, and I got that through recovery court. You know, so once again, recovery court is a great thing because they're not just bad. No, it's a why are you doing this and how can we help you fix you? You know, because if you don't fix yourself, everything else is just a temporary resolution. It doesn't matter. If you don't see anything in yourself, you're more susceptible to it. Like I said earlier, if you don't have the morals, values, and the self respect, those three things stop me from using today. You know, so if you don't have that and you're lacking that, you don't know how to go about getting that cup filled. When someone puts it in front of you, why wouldn't you take it?
Right.
So as an addict, I get it. As normal society member, I get it too. Yeah, felon. But no, it's just at some point in time we have to meet in the middle. Yeah. But no one wants to meet in the middle. It's always an extreme. Either we enable or we do nothing.
That's very true. That is so true. Well, I want to thank you so much for being on Progress, Not Perfection. And I hope to have you on the show again very soon. I'd love to talk to you some more. And Knoxville, I hope you enjoyed it. Again, this is Michael Palmer. My name is Della, and this was Progress, Not Perfection. See you next time.